Hi, Daisy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being on. Oh, it's so funny because I was getting ready and you know that song, it's like Pretty Little Baby. And I just kept thinking Pretty Little
Uh-huh.
Daisy
Aw,
went through my
that's
head.
cute.
Um, but we can go ahead and get started. I wanted to talk to you if you want to introduce yourself. I'll do an intro later, but if you want to introduce yourself and just kind of talk about Vida IV therapy, how you got started, your background.
Oh, so I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 13 years, and I am the proud owner and founder of Vida IV Therapy and Aesthetics. At Vida, we are a concierge wellness company. So we offer mobile IV therapy, vitamin injections. We offer peptides, wellness shots, um, medical weight loss programs, and Botox and disc work.
I did see that you added Botox to your
Mhm.
packages. What inspired
Yes.
you to decide to add Botox?
So previously, I was a surgical nurse at a plastic surgeon's office, but I was more in the surgical side of it, more at the bedside, getting patients ready for surgery. Sometimes I would be in the operating room, circulating or recovering them. So it was mainly on the surgical side. And I always told myself, I never want to be an injector. I never want to do Botox. I just want to be right there and take care of the patient in a different capacity. But my love for it kind of like just it changed. That when I'm going and seeing my patients, they were like, "Hey, do you do Botox?" And like so
Wow.
many people just ask, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I need to do this. I do it for myself. I'm like, why not provide that for my clients as well? Just give a little extra value to our visit.
Yeah, I think that's really great because you do get like when you have like some businesses that offer health and wellness options, you don't always get both. And let's be
Yeah.
real, like everybody is also still doing some Botox here on the side.
Yes.
I think there's kind of a fine line between like the aesthetic side
Mhm.
of things and health.
Yes.
I think being able to blend them together is really unique.
Mhm.
And I think it's kind of trending with the times because we've always
Yes.
felt like, oh, we have to remove everything as far as
Mhm.
like toxins and this and that. I think there's a good
Mhm.
balance to have. Just to be fully transparent because I'm way out there. I have breast augmentation, but I'm also like a
Mhm.
health and wellness girly, and so
Right.
kind of up to everyone what they choose to do. I think it's a great mix to have because Botox is definitely popular right now. IV therapy definitely popular. What would you say are some of your favorite IV options that you have or packages that you use?
Y Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure you've heard of NAD+. So
Yes.
that is one of our most popular requested IV therapy infusions. So it's a molecule in our cells that we all have, but as we age, it gets depleted, it gets lower, and then we start experiencing fatigue, low energy, brain fog. We don't get as much sleep and all of that stuff. So it's basically anti-aging from a cellular level. And so a lot of people who are busy, who are professionals, who want to invest in their health, they're seeking this IB. And me and Francisco, my husband, are both
Mhm.
on the injections right now, and we've noticed a big difference.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, I texted him this morning. I'm like, I feel great. I've been sleeping good, and he's like, yeah, it's must be the NAD, but it could be a combination of things that we're doing. But I really do think it works.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I have a little bit of a background in genetics, and so I
Okay,
work
great.
with a lot of peptides and biology.
Mhm.
And so it's very interesting. I haven't personally tried NAD, but I know some of
Yeah,
the benefits. So to kind of hear from
yeah.
your experience that it works really well is good. Yeah. Do you think most people, like when you go to do your IB therapy, do you find a lot of people realize like, do they already know what they want? Do you tend to offer advice? Like, how do you navigate what somebody needs, what would benefit them
Mhm.
most? Because a lot of times somebody might think, for example, oh, I need B12, when
Mhm.
really they might just need some B6.
Yeah, so for us, before every visit, we do have a telehealth consultation with our nurse practitioner, just to go over their goals, why they're seeking our services. We go through their medical history. A lot of times, people who seek my services, it's not their first time. they kind of already know what they want or what they're looking for. But if they don't, we definitely do guide them. I do my nursing assessment and ask, okay, what is it that you're looking for? Is it like, are you low on energy? Are you looking for an immune boost? Do you get sick often? Do you like more like the symptoms that they're having? And
Nice.
then on our website, we have different IV options, but we can always customize an IV specifically for what their symptoms are. I don't like to operate like off of a menu. It's more like, hey, let's sit down and let's talk about how you're feeling.
So it's
Mhm.
very customized, very
Yes.
personalized. I think that's
Mhm.
awesome too, because a lot of times it's like, here's our packages, take your pick. And so I think
Mhm.
when you can tailor it down, and even with you having a background in nursing is helpful. So that's
Mhm.
another benefit because you don't, oh, I mean, you obviously have to have some experience to be able to administer. But I think
Mhm.
just kind of really knowing what they need and being able to customize it is very beneficial.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to touch on you come from a family of entrepreneurs with
Mhm.
you, your husband, your children have a
Yes.
business of their own. Talk a little bit about that and um, kind of what values you instilled in your families doing that and what benefit you think that gives to you and your children.
Um, so entrepreneurship, I learned it at a young age, like growing up with my parents. I was one of five children. My parents immigrated from Mexico and
Mhm.
I just always saw them working really hard. Um,
Mhm.
so my mom, I think she had like a jewelry store. She would sell like Avon. She had a food truck. Like I always saw her,
Okay, do
doing her
something.
doing something, doing her thing. And the same thing with my dad. He had his own business. Like he was a painter. He used to paint houses. So I feel like that's where I saw, okay, I can do anything that I want to do. But then they also taught me like, okay, you got to go to college. You have to, get you a good job that has benefits, that pays well hourly. And
Yeah,
I feel like nursing for me came naturally just because I don't know, I'm just like a very caring person.
yeah,
I love to help people. So when it came time to choose my career, it wasn't hard.
yeah.
But I found myself like where I was, like lead surgical nurse, there was not going to be any more growth for me. I was capped out at my pay. And I'm like, well, what else can I do with my degree? I consider for a hot little second doing real estate. And then I'm like, who am I kidding? Like, no, I don't want to sell houses. Nothing
It's a
wrong with
lot.
that. Nothing wrong with it. It is a lot because I see my husband, but
Yeah,
I'm like, I love taking care of people. I love just helping them. And so I'm like, well, why don't I do something that I can use my skills, my degree?
yeah.
And that's where the wellness, the IV therapy started off. Uh, and then so my husband, he has a full-time job at the hospital, but he also does
Okay,
real estate on the
okay.
side. And then our son, he went to school. He got his HVAC certification and then
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's like, well, he saved all his money one summer, bought his first bull, mechanical bull, and now he has three bulls, and he's just doing his business full time.
I did
So,
not know that. Okay. Yeah. I saw the like the blow like the Toro bull or something.
oh yes, oh yes, yes, yes.
That's so
So I
cool.
feel like my husband and I have been great examples for
Yeah.
him, and then maybe just give him the courage and motivation. Like, hey, if my parents can do this, I can do it too. But don't get me wrong, it's scary. Quitting your full time job. You're going from not having a steady paycheck to paycheck to just
Mhm.
going all in into your business, and it definitely takes a leap of faith.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel like too, because I recently last year in September, I let go because I tried real estate a while back, but I was still
Yeah.
working. I let go. I worked in the legal field for a long time, kind of
Mhm.
similar reasons as you. I always wanted to help people. And I found for
Mhm.
me, it just ended up being through the court of law, but
Mhm.
it wasn't fulfilling for me. Like I
Mhm.
wasn't getting the full, like hands on. I really want to help because you either win a
Mhm.
case or you lose it. You don't
Yes.
really, and I was a paralegal, so I wasn't a lawyer, but
Mhm.
uh, I think they're just the desire to want to help people, but then getting to start a business where you're kind of in control of that. So you get to
Yes.
make the rules and kind of do it your way. Uh,
Mhm.
I think too, your parents passing that legacy down to you and you to your children kind of
Mhm.
instills those values. Um,
Mhm.
one of the other things that I really admire about you and your family is that you guys are very God centered. I think you guys had recently, did you have an anniversary recently? Is that what it was?
Yes, yes, those are
Okay.
19. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations. I had commented, I think, on some of the pictures, and I was just saying you can literally see God in y'all's marriage. So how does that kind of tie into your business and how you
Mhm.
manage things, your faith, all of that? How do you tie it together?
Uh, it's honestly like the foundation of everything. Uh, it wasn't always like this. It wasn't until our adult lives that we chose to follow God. And once we did, our lives changed. So I feel like having God at the center of your marriage, everything else just flows. And then you have to, first of all, have God at the center. Communication is really important.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, prioritizing, spending time together, dating your spouse, just loving selflessly, putting the other person before you. There was a time where we put everything else, like our work, our children, everything first and not us. And when you do that, it doesn't work.
Yeah. You find I've experienced that as well. So do you find that having that stable foundation first with
Mhm,
what you would say, I guess, is the head of the household as the parents, having
mhm,
that stable foundation first,
mhm.
kind of centered on faith is what kind of helps everything else blossom. And so
Yes.
then it kind of translates into your business. And so your business appears to be really successful. It's gained traction and growth.
Mhm,
And I think a lot of that, in my opinion, has to do with having that faith and that
mhm.
balance and kind of keeping things centered around God and what's important first, because you can't
Correct.
pour from an empty cup, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then, um, what would you say, like, because I know you mentioned it hasn't always been that way. Is
Mhm,
there anything, even in your just your life personally,
mhm,
or
mhm,
growing up that kind of shaped your faith, even if you
mhm,
didn't jump right into it, that
mhm.
eventually kind of helped you grow and put you on the path that you're on now?
Yeah, I would say my mom, she would always speak to us about God. In our childhood, we would go to church with her. I would see her pray, and like I would definitely say she instilled that in me. But it
Yeah.
wasn't until it was Daisy's choice that my life changed. It wasn't like, oh, my mom's making me go. It's like, no, I choose to go. Like I want to
Yeah.
believe in God, and I feel like that's where our lives changed drastically.
Yeah, and so it definitely has an effect on your business, like we said, because your faith grows
Yes.
and then everything around it begins to grow. Um,
Yes, exactly.
and I think that's a part of healing that's very important because even with my business, the goal of my business, so I offer genetic testing. I do like
Mhm,
yoga. I'm a
mhm.
yoga certified instructor,
Okay.
all these different things related to health and wellness.
Mhm,
And one thing I find is that faith is at the root of all healing. So whether it be like you do IV therapy or if
mhm,
somebody does a yoga session, at the
mhm,
end of the day, your beliefs, your mindset, and your
mhm,
faith are all, what's tied to that and what makes things grow and work. And so I think
mhm,
that's an ongoing process. Is there anything that you do in your day to day? I know that you're a
mhm,
runner,
mhm,
and you're into fitness. Is there
mhm,
anything that keeps you grounded? Because I know running a business, having children is, time.
mhm. Yeah, so, like, grounded in my faith,
Mhm. Yeah, just
yeah.
what keeps you grounded and keeps you going when it gets crazy. Like, do you have any things that you like to do as far as, taking care of your self-care?
Yes, for sure. So, one thing that keeps me grounded is just spending time with God daily, praying, worshiping, just quiet time, me and God. And then after, that's how I start my day. After that, it's before I jump into work, it's just like, okay, let me take care of myself first. Like, whether it's
Mhm.
going for a run or I love doing Pilates once a week or like
Oh, do
weights.
you?
Yeah, just to focus on this core because I tend to neglect it. But I'm always
Yeah.
trying to do something to take care of myself first so that I can be a better mom, better wife, better nurse for my clients, better daughter, sister. So I
Yeah.
would like to start after my time with God with movement.
It's really beautiful.
Mhm.
Movement helps me too in the morning, first thing. And you mentioned Pilates. I noticed that you do a lot of events where you work with other
Uh-huh.
as far as like if they have an event for yoga or for Pilates, and then
Yeah.
you guys can come because you are mobile. That's one thing
Mhm.
that I wanted to mention as well, right?
Mhm.
You're mobile, so if somebody has an event or a yoga studio, Pilates studio is interested,
Mhm.
you'll work with them. So
Yes. Yeah, so we do collaborations with Pilates studios or anybody that aligns with what we do, the health and wellness industry. So recently we did an event with Houston Luxury Magazine. It was a wellness event. They did yoga. And then I was a vendor for IV therapy and vitamin injection. So I feel like our services go hand in hand. Like the fitness and the wellness, those people want to take care of themselves, are proactive on their health. They're not waiting to get sick or
and that's another thing I think is important too, like working in the health and wellness industry,
Mhm,
um, a lot of people have to be ready to take that first step on their own too. As far as like your health and wellness,
mhm.
what I found interesting and I did not know is that you're a grandmother.
Oh, yes, yes, I
So
am.
clearly you're taking care of yourself and your business and you're taking your supplements and all of that definitely works. You're the
Mhm.
poster child for your own business.
So people are like, "You're not a grandma, you're a glamma," and I'm like,
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So, I
Mhm,
think that says a lot too about your business. Um, what does beauty mean to you? Like when you think of beauty and like aesthetics, because it can be very, superficial in the way that we look at it, but I think it
mhm.
starts then. What are your thoughts on what beauty means to you?
Yes, I would agree with that. It's not about the outward appearance. It's about, to me, honestly, it's like how you treat people, like the posture of your heart. To me, that's what makes somebody beautiful. Like you can be drop dead gorgeous externally and just be mean and not have a good heart. But to me, it's the opposite.
Awesome. I agree completely because again, like if your intentions and everything that comes from within is not
Mhm,
aligned with what's good or what's right, um,
mhm.
I think it starts to pour out in every other area of your life. So it's like you could
Yes,
be outwardly beautiful all day, but then it's going to show by, the fruit you produce, as it says in the Bible.
exactly.
Um, do you think that there were any gaps in like traditional wellness and healthcare,
Mhm.
um, that kind of made you want to be able to bring wellness directly to people since you do mobile?
Yes, for sure. So I feel like primarily people like doctors, like you go to the doctor and they're there to to cure something, right? Like
Right.
you're diabetic or have high cholesterol or you have an illness, like you go to them when something's already wrong. And so like what we do is like, no, this is preventative. Like let's do stuff to help you, whether, because yes, I offer all these services, but I also talk to my patients about nutrition. I talk to them about daily movement, because all of that, we do offer a weight loss program. And I'm like, this is just a tool. We need to also work on other things when you're not on this medication anymore, that it's going to be sustainable and you're able to keep the weight off. So I like to focus a lot on that as well.
Yeah, I think that also sets your business apart, and that's what I really like. Because a lot of people are left without guidance or
Hmm.
they're just relying on the drug, whether it's like the GLP or whatever it
Hmm.
may be. And
Hmm.
once that's done, they're just like, okay, or they think they can just use that and get by. And
Mhm,
I think for people like us who work in the health and wellness space, it's very important that we're making sure that when we take care of people, that we're doing it in a way that they can sustain,
yes.
and we're offering that guidance. And so I think that makes your business really unique. And that's why I was really
Mhm,
drawn to it. Um, and so I think that's really great for anyone who's looking for,
mhm,
some IV therapy, but also to be able to get like the additional support, whether it be nutrition or, the guidance that you offer, especially having a background in nursing. What are some examples of a way that you do approach wellness in a way that is sustainable? Like how do you support a client? They come in and they do want weight loss. Uh,
mhm,
how do you further support them outside of like
mhm.
an introduction or something like that?
Yeah, so I do like to see those clients once a month, but I do check in with them oftentimes once a week. I don't just, hey, I'll see you next month. I'm like, hey, what are you doing for movement? If they've never worked out, I'm like, okay, start with walking and let's build on that. And then nutrition, I'm like, okay, well, maybe let's cut out sodas. Like I do small things that can create, you know,
bigger, more drastic change.
Exactly. Or if they are looking for recommendations on like what they should do. I also have personal trainers that I could refer them to, a nutritionist, a dietitian. So if it's something that I can address, I provide the resources for them to be able to.
Yeah, and see that I think that's wonderful too because a lot of people they either don't have the recommendations and they kind of
Hmm.
want to handle it themselves, but to
Hmm.
take the time and make sure that you're really thoroughly taking care of your clients and
Hmm.
giving them to someone that you respect and
Hmm.
that's great work. I also think it's great that you offer like little personalized things where it's maybe just
Hmm.
take out a soda, don't
Yes.
change the whole diet because I
Yes.
see with wellness being so trendy nowadays, a lot of people are
Hmm.
trying to attack all these things. When you're
Hmm.
scrolling on Instagram, you see, don't do this, take that, don't take that. And so I
Hmm.
think it's really good to have someone that knows
Hmm.
how to kind of baby steps,
Yes.
and not make it overwhelming and kind of
Hmm.
make it so that people can kind of incorporate these things realistically into their lives. And
Yeah.
so with you doing that, I think that also adds value to your company and your business.
Mhm.
Um, what are some misconceptions you think that people have about IV therapy and wellness support?
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's pseudo medicine, like, it doesn't work, like, it's just salt water," and I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, I'm like, "No, like, these are good vitamins that our body, sometimes is depleted on," and so that's one of the things that I'm like or that it's just for hangovers. I'm like, "No, it's not just for
Yeah,
hangovers." You know?
that's a big one. They're just like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I'm gonna get the IV people to come because I drank last night," and it's like, "No, it's deeper than that." Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So that's one of the things I'm like, "No, it's more than that. It's deeper than that."
yeah. What do you find? Because for me personally, I believe that getting IV therapy is
Mhm.
much more beneficial than taking a supplement in pill form.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Not always the case depending on a person's body.
Mhm.
Like I said, I do have a background in genetics, so there are like methylation. Some people have slower COMT. There's
Mhm.
all these different things um,
Mhm.
that affect their detox and methylation. So for some, it could be too much, but because you do the assessments, we know that's not going to be the case
Mhm.
for you.
Mhm.
But overall, I feel like IV therapy usually is more beneficial than supplements. What
Mhm.
would you say on that?
Yes, I would agree. One, because we forget to take our over-the-counter multivitamins,
Yes.
so we're not consistent with it. And then if you do it in the IV form, you get 100% absorption. It bypasses your GI tract, so you're absorbing all the vitamins as compared to taking it orally.
Perfect. Okay. And then do you ever notice like any patterns in people who are chronically depleted? Do you find that there's something that a lot of people need that maybe they don't realize they need?
Yeah, so a lot of time, vitamin D is
Mm,
one of the vitamins that most of us are depleted on. We don't get enough sun. We don't consume it in our diet or vitamins, and a lot of people are deficient in it. So with us, that is a vitamin that could build up toxicity. So
mhm.
if somebody wanted to start vitamin therapy with us, we would require some blood work, and then we would tailor it depending on what they need. So I feel like vitamin D people are always deficient on, so that's one of the most popular.
That's I like that you mentioned that because the blood work's very important. I
Yes.
think a lot of practitioners, even just regular doctors,
Mhm.
uh, when they find out someone's deficient, they just
Mhm.
throw a bunch of supplements at them and they don't necessarily look at the levels. Um,
Mhm.
because yeah, there are supplements that Um, they'll just pass through
Mhm.
like B12.
Right.
Uh, but then you have other supplements like selenium and vitamin
Mhm.
D where you don't want to get too much because you will have
Mhm.
that necessity.
Mhm.
So I think that's very good that you're able to test and make
Mhm.
sure, and it just shows the care for the client. Do you think that many of your clients, when they come to you, are they already realizing how undersupported maybe their nervous system is as far as a lack of supplements, or do they usually think it's just one thing, but then it's more, or do you find that it's more like I think
Mhm.
what do you
Yeah,
see?
yeah. So a lot of times, people come to me once they're already feeling depleted. They're feeling tired, or fatigued. They're not sleeping well. They're not recovering well, and that's when they come to me.
What do you wish more people understood about movement and aging? Because you did talk about movement in the mornings and it being a
Mhm.
supportive therapy in
Mhm.
addition to IV therapy.
I think that movement is like our greatest investment that we do for ourselves, and it plays in the way that we age. Uh,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because I think even with like the heavy lifting, they show that it helps with like your bone strength as you age. So yes, vitamin D is helpful, but then when you're suggesting to your clients, well, hey, add some movement, that's really going
Mhm.
to support their wellness.
Yeah.
Uh, how has fitness shaped your confidence and your resilience when it comes to your health and bouncing back, especially as we age?
Mhm. So I wasn't as active and fit as I am now. My husband, he's always been the fit and active
Oh,
runner. Oh, yes, yes. And he would be like, "Come on, go work out with me." And I would be like, "No, you go work out." And it wasn't until, I don't know, like this switch just went off in my mind. And I'm like, let me go do this for me. Like, I did it.
yeah.
I didn't like being told to do it. Like, I just wasn't there yet. And then one day I was just like, okay, I'm ready. And then like once I started working out, like it's just been part of my life. Like I can't not work out. It feels weird. I'm not obsessed with working out, but I just love the way it makes me feel mentally. Like
Yeah,
just
that's
happy. Uh and then like just strong. Like I want to be able to chase around my grandbaby for as long as possible.
all.
Yeah.
And how old is your grandbaby?
He
Oh, yeah, that's so cute. No,
Yes.
I definitely think it's important because especially as we get older, we get more tired and all of these
Mhm.
different things. And I think just keeping a fitness routine is very
Mhm.
beneficial. I'm
Yeah.
like you, I don't like to be told. And so it's like if you tell me, I'm probably going to do the opposite by default. Something
Yes.
about being
Mhm.
like that as a kid and you just keep it with you. But I definitely do see there is a benefit once you do work out and you get those endorphins flowing. Even like
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of morning sunshine.
Mhm.
It's because it gets that circadian rhythm going and you just kind
Mhm.
of start your day really well. So
Mhm.
definitely an important part of it all. Um, I also see that you're very involved with community.
Mhm.
How do you think that plays a role in people's healing, staying connected, whether it be through church, through wellness
Mhm.
events? What role do you think that plays?
Yeah, so I think being in community is very important, and I'll speak more as far as like faith community. So I would say within the last year or two, Francisco and I joined at our church. It's called a Hangout, but it's kind of like a Bible study.
Uh-huh.
Um, Before we thought, oh, you know what? We don't need anybody. We could do life by ourselves, but
Uh,
that's far from the truth. So, ever since we started doing that, like it's changed our life because we have people who are there for us in the good times and the bad times. And, um, I feel like we wouldn't be able to do life without our community.
yeah, that's really great because I think when people are healing or they're going through healing or trying to
Mhm.
better themselves, a lot of
Mhm.
we isolate ourselves because maybe we're healing, we have some shame about something, or um,
Mhm.
we feel like we can't ask for help. And so
Mhm.
I was one of those people for a very long time. I was like, "Oh, I don't
Mhm.
get burden. It's okay," all that
Mhm.
thing. But I think once we reach out and we connect with other people, even though it can
Mhm.
be scary sometimes, especially if they're
Mhm.
shy like we are,
Yeah.
once you reach out and make that connection, you see that it can help and it is very
Mhm.
beneficial in the healing process. And it doesn't have to be this big dramatic healing that you're going through, but just
Mhm.
having a friend to call and say, "Hey, just checking on you. How are you?" Or, anything
Mhm.
like that. "Do you need help with the kids? Can I do anything for y'all?" Um,
Mhm.
so I think just staying connected and having that community is helpful. So,
Mhm.
again, loving these events that you do at the Pilates and that
Oh,
you can make friends and maybe some of those friends you take with you to church or any event really.
exactly.
And it just benefits everybody's healing and community. So I think that's
Mhm.
great. What does your family of entrepreneurs teach you about faith and action together? Like to reach success?
Mhm.
Like you can have faith and be like, oh, I want to do this. I'm going to have faith. It's going to work out.
Mhm.
But then you have to also put forth the action. Like, what is
Mhm.
your mind frame or your opinion on how that works? Like the faith and action, especially as an entrepreneur.
Mhm. So it definitely takes a lot of faith to run your own business.
Okay.
I remember like not having a single client and like when I first started the business and
Uh-huh.
then just trusting that, God is gonna provide
Yeah.
and bring me those clients or open the doors that need to be open.
Mhm.
So I feel like faith wise but then also putting in the work, right?
Yeah.
Like when I do these community events, like networking events, I put a lot of effort into that and just building relationships, connections. Um, it takes work to have a successful business. Nobody's going to come to me. Like you have to do work every day to put yourself out there, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. And I think it's very inspiring that you share that because
Mhm.
a lot of times we just think, man, I really want to do that. But we don't realize like you have to take a step forward. How do you overcome that being shy? Because I also still struggle with that myself. As far as like making those connections and kind of taking that action forward to reach out to others.
Yes, I honestly I'm just gonna put myself out there. The worst thing they can say is no thank you, like me sending emails. Like I have a partnership with One Sweat and Porsche coming up. And
Oh,
I
congratulations on that.
thank you. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna send an email. And the worst thing they can say is no. And like don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And then even when I do events, sometimes I have to like speak in front of people. Inside I'm like terrified and shaky, but I'm like, I'm not gonna become better at this if I don't do it and practice it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite quotes is do it trembling if you must, but by all means do it. And so it's just about having courage and that it's like, even if you're shaking inside, just do what you know needs to be done. And then by the time you do it, you're like, oh, that was okay.
Yeah.
What part of your legacy matters more than success?
So it's for me, it's not like material possessions or assets. It's like what I want to be remembered as is like how I made people feel. Like people remember my kindness or what I did for them to help them. To me, that's what legacy means.
Yes, awesome. So this part is just a rapid fire. I always like to
Okay.
ask people this or that kind of thing at the
Mhm.
end,
Oh,
or just like a little one word
mhm.
answer. So, or first thing
Okay.
that comes to mind, a wellness habit that you swear by.
Uh, IB therapy.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Obviously, value that your family is built on.
Integrity.
Integrity. I like that.
Mhm.
Uh, what does hope feel like physically to
Joy.
you? Joy? That's
Mhm.
a good answer. I like that. Um, one thing that people need more of,
Love.
IV therapy, love.
And IB therapy.
A value that you refuse to compromise.
Loyalty.
Awesome. One word for your faith,
Grounded.
grounded. Love
Mhm.
that. This is going to be a good one. A scripture or a phrase that grounds you.
Yes, it's I can do all things through Christ, He who gives me strength. Because when I can't do it on my own, I rely on God.
Amen. I love that.
Mhm.
Um, what does God's love feel like to you?
Unconditional.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
such good answers. Okay. And then our final question
Mhm.
is your current season in one word and what you hope people feel after interacting with you and your business.
I would say growth
Okay.
would describe the season that I am right now.
Mm.
And then I would hope that people feel heard, supported, um, not judged, and that I'm a partner in their health.
A partner in their health. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to share about the business? Any upcoming events or promotions or anything you have right now?
Our next event is going to be June 18th at
Okay.
Porsche. We're doing a health and wellness event with One Sweat.
Okay.
So hopefully people can come out.
Awesome. And do you do corporate wellness?
Yes,
Okay.
we do corporate wellness events as well. So we have one coming up with Lifetime Fitness. We do group events where we go and their company wants to have a health and wellness day for their staff. We do that as well. And I bring a group of my nurses and we take care of the patients simultaneously.
Awesome. Okay. And if people want to find your business, where can they find you?
Yes, so it's VitaIVTherapy.com.
Awesome. Thank you. It was so good to have you on. Hopefully we'll get to do this again.
Likewise, thank you so much.